Welcome to episode 2 of Dungeon Master's Corner. I'm Aaron, and I'm here to go over episode 2 of the One Shot Wonders adventure. I will be reviewing how I prepared for this episode, what I expect the players to do, and how I plan to move the characters about this new adventure. So, there are spoilers ahead. If you want to watch the episode before you see the behind the scenes, go watch that now and then come back here. Otherwise, you've been warned. All right. So we're going to jump right into it. So for episode 2, I had my players create level 2 characters. So this could be a adventure that could start and kick off a campaign in the future. I like to start my long campaigns at level 2. Level 1 characters are extremely squishy, and you get your players that make 7, 10, 12 page background stories, and you can easily kill them in the first level. And if you do that, they're not going to be happy. Most players are not going to be happy. So I always like to start my campaigns at level 2. So this could be a idea on how you do that for your campaign. For this one, we are going to be looking at, for our big bad, the gelatinous cube. So we're dealing with an ooze. Pretty straightforward in terms of combat. There's not a whole lot of parlaying. There's not any parlaying you can do with an ooze. It's just how much you can control it and keep away from it. Our experience budget for this is 2400 XP, so we're going to be using some low-level creatures. And what I decided for this one is my characters are going to have level 2. They are using a standard array to build their characters, and I gave them almost every option available. Since they are level 2, I wanted them to be able to have as much at their fingertips as they could. The only restriction I gave them on this is I asked them to pick characters that did not have dark vision. I want vision to be an obstacle that they're going to have to overcome in this adventure. The other restriction I gave them, or at least starting point I gave them, was that they all know each other because they had committed a crime spree together, and that's how they knew each other. And in their most previous crime spree, they got caught. So our adventure is going to start with them in jail talking to each other. They've been in jail for about a month, and it was a pretty low-level crime. They're only sentenced to about a year. So the offer that they're going to get to start this adventure is the warden is going to approach and tell them there have been issues in the sewers and that they are being offered the chance to go down there. Since they worked as a team together, they had weapons when they were arrested, to go clear out whatever's causing the problems, causing sewer workers to go missing, people to end up dead. And if they do that and successfully clear out the sewers, then they will be granted their freedom early. So they have a good reason to do that and begin on the adventure. So we're going to go ahead and start. This is going to just start as an easy role play. I've got the players. They're going to be talking in the cell about how they got caught. Then they are going to be brought to the warden's office. In the warden's office, they're going to get their offer. And how this is going to work is I've got to make sure that the players don't just go off into the sewers and then the characters could easily just run away. So the warden is going to post guards at each of the exits, and the players have to check in with each of those guards to prove that they've cleared the entire sewer system. So that way, we've got the players in. They can't just outside the game run off and never be seen again. While they're in the sewer system, they are going to encounter a few things that they're going to have to deal with. So they're going to need their weapons. I can't give them their weapons in the jail and then march them over to the sewer because some players would just easily attack the guards and try and run off. So all of their equipment is going to be sitting inside the first door of the sewer. So they're going to walk across the city. There I'm going to give a little bit of exposition on what the city is because they are in one of the larger cities in Scorniabel here. And I'm going to show them that they're being asked to do this because the more capable guard, the Hell Riders, the companions, have bigger things to worry about. And that's why they're being offered this to go down in the sewers and deal with it. Then they are going to go into the first maps. So let's turn on our map here. So here's our starting point right here in the middle. They'll get all their equipment and they'll come up here to the first door. And before we do this, so this is a pretty typical dungeon crawl, and the players, I don't know which way they're going to go. I have a decent idea on what they're going to do, but we may not, players surprise you. So I've got my medium encounter, another medium encounter, a hard encounter, and then the hard boss fight. I need the players to do these 3 first before we get to the boss fight, and here's how I'm going to do that. When they go through the first door, there's going to be a torch right here. So one of them will be able to get a torch. That's how they're going to deal with the low light situation, or the no light that they can't see in the dark. This first room here is just kind of a staging room, refuse storage, dirty tools, things like that. Just kind of, get in the mood of being in the dungeon, in the sewer. Once they're there in the sewer, they're going to step through this first door, and here's where I'm going to give them their first clue as to what they may be facing. It's going to be a very clean and pristine hallway, and there's going to be a very clean skull sitting right there. Some players that know what gelatinous cubes do may pick up on that, but we'll see if they metagame or not. Then they're going to come down here, and here's this ladder and this refuse. So the ladder is my cue to the players that there's a manhole above. That is where they got to check in with one of the guards. So they'll be able to check in there. Down here, we've got one of the sewer canals. The water flows to the left. You can see on the map, it goes to a map, and I've got here my sewers west. That is one of their access points over to that map. I doubt they're going to take it right ahead or straight away. So they got 2 options here. They're going to have stairs up, and they should be able to see from the torch the pile of bones here. This is where I have my first encounter set up. I've also given them the option of a door here. So this door, when they go through, there's going to be another lantern sitting right here on the side on the wall. It is going to be trapped. The bad guys who are working in controlling the gelatinous cube are down here trying to get people trapped and injured and cause chaos, and so that's why there are traps down here. So I've got my notes here that a blade comes out of the wall and slashes at whoever picks up the lantern. Then they're going to come down here. If they come through the hallway, they may try and skip this. If they do, I'm going to have these ambush them over here after they deal with this next part, but this may be movement on where they end up going. So they may fight in this room, they may not, and then there's a exit to the southern map at both these locations. Over here to this side, I've got another manhole cover, so they're going to have to hit this room. I'm not really using this secret door back here, so that's just on the map that I used from the MAD Cartographers Guild. This one. So those of you that have DM'd before, you know that you have to research some random things that you never thought you actually had to know. This is one of them. I looked up encounters in sewers and things you have to deal with in a sewer environment. One of those things I found was called gas stratification, where heavy gases in an unventilated area settle in one location and it can displace oxygen and cause real bad issues and kill you rather quickly. So this red box my players cannot see, only I can see that. When they enter into it, they are going to have constitution saves that they're going to have to deal with. I've given them some clues with perception checks of some of these bones that are around, at least of the smaller ones. Then the con saves. So here, however long they spend in this, I'm probably going to go in initiative order. They have to be able to make it up, notify the guards above that they're there, and then come back down and either go through these doors or go back the way they came. Depending how long it takes, depends on what happens to them. I'm hoping I'll get a few levels of exhaustion on a couple of them here. Now, as a DM, what if the players say, you know what, I'm just going to hold my breath? That is very likely. So if they do that, then I'm going to say these gases, that will help them for one round. The second round they're in there, it's going to start hitting their mucous membranes, and so their eyes are going to start causing them to have to roll on this table. They say I close my eyes. Great. Then they're going to have to do some perception checks and abilities that will roll to see how they can get up a ladder and make their way back without running into things or going the wrong direction. All right, so that is our map, and from here, they're probably going to head south through one of these corridors. So going to our south map. So here's our 4 entrance points on each side. I generally expect them to come through one of these 2 doors over here on the top right. Once they do, if they come over here on the right, they have a chance of skipping my next encounter with the crocodile hidden over here, but I can get them to there in just a second. If they come through this hallway, I'm going to leave it up to the dice as to whether or not these creatures see them and detect that they're there and attack or not. There's a choke point here that's going to cause a problem. If they do get in combat here with these, I'm probably going to send the crocodile to come underneath the sewers and attack here from behind, and then send these down this corridor and flank them from this side. So that could be a bit of an issue if they do get in a fight there, but we're going to leave it up to the dice. If they come down to the right side and skip that first, they'll come down to our door here that's going to be locked. Here's my final encounter with the gelatinous cube. I do not want them here until they have gone to the other map. So this is a big ornate door with a big special key that they need to get. So they're going to have to go backtrack to find that key if they get here first, which will then hopefully send them off this direction. If they go back the way they came, Crocodile's going to swim under here and attack them as they try to come up to the north, and then everything else will come and attack them from the hallway there. So that way I can get them through that encounter. So heading back up, the players then have 2 options to get to our west map. They're going to have to either swim through the sewage here or swim through the sewage up at the first room they came in right here. I assume they're going to come through the lower one, so let's go to our west map. So here's our 2 entrances. Here's the upper one. Down here is the lower one. I expect them to come this way. They'll swim through, and then we'll see which way they decide to go, but they can either go north or to the west. For this, I'll go to the north. Now, you can also see right here, I've got another gelatinous cube and a giant rat. You never know what your players are going to do. They may find some creative way I didn't think of for them to get through the other door, and I'm going to have to move these encounters. So I've put my gelatinous cube here, which I think will actually be able to make it more dangerous because I will be able to lock them into some of these tunnels with some of these rocks that I've got hidden that I can block things off with. But we'll get to that in a second. The players, hopefully, if they come in the front door, they'll be able to see their signs of someone with intelligence living here. We're not just dealing with rats and beasts. They can either swim underneath here or go through the door. If they got the door, I've got a simple pit trap here. And then there's another check place where they need to talk to the guards there at the manhole. In here, I've got an ogre. So this is our first semi-intelligent creature. He lives here. He got a little mushroom farm. He's kind of shunned from society, and he's set up a nice place for ogres to live. He's got this door. It is going to be completely sealed up, stuffed on all the corners so that no ooze could get through there because he knows there's an ooze here. And then he's also got some braziers that are set up to keep the ooze from coming from this direction as well. And then while I'm looking at it here, I also see that we need another guard point because they can access the sewers from that direction, so the ooze could too. So we're going, that's not what we're going for. I'll deal with that in a minute, but I'm going to put 2 braziers here as well. Actually, probably right here to block the ooze, because oozes can be controlled with fire, and that'll keep it from coming in that direction. So back to our ogre. Here we've got our pit trap. We'll see if the players fall for it or not. Once they get through, the ogre is going to attack. In the first round, he's defending his home. The swarm of rats will also attack. They will fight to the death. Here, unlike the last encounter, I'm going to let the players, if they want to, attempt to defuse the situation and not actually have to kill the ogre, because he doesn't necessarily want to die, and he may give up near the end, but he will give up his key to let the adventurers try and slay the ooze and give them an idea on what they may be facing, or if they kill them, then he will, or they will just loot his body. But either way, they'll get the key from there. Down here, we got another checkpoint they're going to have to check on. And then once they do that, they will be able to go back to our southern map, get through our door here. and do a last checkpoint. So this room I've left pretty barren and blank. I want to give them a chance to take a short rest, especially because we're dealing with level 2 characters. I want to be able to get them back up so they're ready for this boss fight. Then in here, they'll come through our chamber door here. This door, you've got all these bones, and you can see in our map that above here we've got daylight coming through a sewer grate. So what I've got here is I've got our overall big bads for this campaign. I have bought the property above and are feeding this gelatinous cube at the bottom and causing chaos in the town underneath in the sewer system. And so they're feeding bodies down here. So they know the adventurers are there because this cube is going to need help to eventually kill them, which is the point of this whole campaign. So the players will get in here and deal with this cube and one diseased rat. The door is going to lock magically from our bad guys above, and they're going to be able to keep an eye on what's going on down here. A cube is slow but relentless. I do expect the players, I know I said this last time, I expect the players to defeat the cube because they should just be able to kite it around this area without any issue. Once they do kill it, then I'm going to have to lock them in because they could just do that forever until they fall asleep or something like that. So in order to expedite it, I've got these rocks set out here. And I'm going to be able to have the cultists drop these traps down so that we can lock the players into kind of like a singular hallway. And then they are trapped so that the cube can just go up and down and eventually be able to finish them off in its newly undead state. Unless somehow the players aren't that tactical and I am able to kill them, but I expect to bring these rocks down and trap them in here until eventually they are killed as part of the campaign for this. So that is the gelatinous cube. That is the plan on what I plan to do for these guys. Again, I expect them to win, and then I'm going to have to use the campaign magic to bring them back and see how long it takes to kill them, and it's going to take a little extra effort. So with that, let's see what happens. I hope to see you on episode 2, and we'll talk to you afterwards at the Second Shot Happy Hour. Thanks for watching.